allowing the children to do. This year the Queen Quet coming to Hunter for this year Gullah Geechee TV Nayshun Nyews. One more again we're coming out when we meeting at the International African American Museum, where we gonna build right here across from where we stand now at the South Carolina Aquarium. Now Hunter children can see this your water and things like that. This year the same view we ancestors had when they first becoming Indian. But then they come from Sullivan Island to end up right here at this here spot what been a wall. Now Hunter going to tune in and Yeti what the story is for this here part of land where we today at the day. But more than that, we want you to tune in and understand why so many of we that stay on this year board for this year International African American Museum. And for all of you who support the Gullah Geechee Nation, who support me, I definitely want you to support us building the International African American Museum. So you will see at the end of this episode a place that you can contact, and of course you can always contact me as well, on how to help us out with making sure that this living institution that celebrates all of us as the African descendants of those that came in and made America what it is today will be able to come and educate the next generation at this institution. We want you to help us build this place and be a part of this living space. So Hunter children know, if Hunter did with me, Hunter going know what a going on.
I've been involved with this project probably for about 9 years, one way or the other. Carol Lee Williams called me 9 years ago asking for suggestions on consultants. So I've seen this project grow, move forward, great dreams. Being a Kamya, not a Binya, but an historian, what really strikes me about this project, and about Charleston, of course, is place. That's what makes this different. And what's really unique about place in this project is this place is not Aquarium Wharf, it's Gadsden's Wharf, which was the major landing place for enslaved Africans into Charleston. Built in 1769, it was the largest wharf in North America. And between 1804 and 1807, when the slave trade, international slave trade ended, 75,000 enslaved Africans landed right here, right at this place. That is emotional, can lead to the intellectual. And so I commend Ralph and his team for getting us to think differently, looking at what our advantages are, and what can we do that will be a permanent addition to the educational, cultural, emotional resources in Charleston. We have it. We can do it.
Right.
But it's got to be reasonable because the money isn't there but we thought it would be. But I'm very encouraged about this new direction that will lead us to something that I think all of you can be proud of.
What we heard was that we need to enlighten and empower the culture bearers, defined by one member of our group as those who are really the bottom of our society, the least enfranchised, perhaps. They carry the traditions. We need to engage a regional audience. You need a repeat visitation to be sustainable, to be of value to not just Charleston, but the region. It should be a place that attracts those people coming in on a tour of the cruise ships, because they're already coming here for an authentic sense of place. And we can knit that all together for one first stop on their journey. But we need to have enough program elements for the local community and be of value to them. The scope of the story, we've often talked in the last year of our efforts on envisioning the institution about the lens. Charleston is a lens looking both outward and inward. It's an international story. What voice does the museum speak? It seems like an odd question, but in fact, when you go to different museums, voice becomes very important. Who's speaking to you? We heard that honoring and acknowledging unknown or forgotten African Americans of the Low Country would be an important tone in our voice. Authenticity needs to be there. Most of the voices from history are only known to a few scholars. And then a very powerful statement that IAAM needs to speak with moral clarity. The visitor experience, one can think about it as geared toward individual experiences, intimate experiences of sort of self-searching nature. Or they could be social experiences, really geared toward groups that participate in dialogue in a kind of social space. Well, we should definitely think about creating a place where families feel comfortable and groups can talk. We heard that this should be a place to learn who you are, a place to help people realize how incredible they are, to be empowering, no matter how downtrodden they are. Maybe IAM doesn't need to go deep, but helps you get to a place where you can go deep. That was profound. Charleston is an international brand. I think somebody mentioned that a survey was done internationally of American cities, and Charleston always came up among the top 5 known to people in Russia, China, and places like that. They come here because it has a brand recognition, and it's here that we can put all the pieces together.
What I'm drawing on, just as a creative person myself, is, can you go back one more, go to one before that? Yeah, that just has 3. What I kept seeing here, besides the Trinity, was the flow. There's the one that you have earlier on where the 2 circles on either side are sitting a little bit more forward of that center circle, not in a line of circles. I kept envisioning that as our space before we got the last drawings that looked more like a box. And I believe Jonathan and I were the ones that commented on it at that point when the architect showed us something that looked more like a rectangular box and not having the same flow in the circles. But this is basically, to me, if I was sketching, I would have started there and then continued to build on it as a part of the family compound intersecting, and how all of the layers of what you showed us embody who we are as African people. Each circle is a part of our DNA. It's a part of what makes us who we are. And so I like the fact that you utilize those for this display, but also to me it speaks volumes to what we've been working on here all along, because I could see water flowing in it. I could see the drum skin head in it. I can see the ring shout in it. I see all of these different elements just by seeing those circles connected. And so I feel like that's what this place is for, is to reconnect all those circles of the African diaspora. Whether we're talking about the Caribbean, we're talking about the motherland, we're talking about here, we're talking about Brazil, we're talking about all these places. This is it, is how do those circles come together and connect.